Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Today in LA. I'm Forrest Lee, and on the phone we have Mike Amos. We'd certainly like to welcome you to our show. Today's show will go from 7 o'clock to 8:15 because every Monday, Truck Talk with Wiley Sanders featuring Jeffrey Bennett will come on around 8:30, and we have to, our show ends at 8:15 on Mondays. Special good morning to Mike Amos. He's on the phone calling from Panama City. How you doing, Mike?
Good well, and hello to all my friends out there. And of course, it is good to be back. And of course, I'm gonna gradually work my way back into the system. But of course, it just really feels good to be back talking to all my friends and talking to Trojans everywhere. On Facebook, around the world, and around the states and around the world. We are coming live this morning on Facebook, and it's just great to be alive, and it's great to be an American, and hopefully we'll get this country back in order before too long, and get back to making a living and having a good time and being free of all obstacles. And we appreciate you, Forrest, for being there for us, man. You were wonderful, and you still are wonderful, and we appreciate it. Right off the bat this morning, I have a man that I want to recognize, Alvin Dees, a former player on the 1968 team. Football team at Troy, and great friend, also on the Board of Trustees at one time of Troy University, and also a high fan of the Alpha chain, and of course he was worked for Alpha for several years, and he died this weekend.
Yes, sir. What position did he play, Mike, and where was his hometown?
He was from Evergreen.
Evergreen?
From Evergreen, Alabama. We call him Big Buck Dees, and Alvin Dees was a great player at Troy, and was one of those pulling guards, and he was an outstanding player, an outstanding Trojan. Like I said, he went on and became quite a man to represent Troy University in a lot of ways, and he will be definitely missed, and his wife and children, great people, and again, Alvin Dees is dead in Montgomery, and we're very, very sorrowful of this, and hopefully we, with Lord's guidance, will be able to accept this and move on.
It wasn't long that Troy University lost Sam Bird, another great player on that team.
They were best friends. Sam Bird and Alvin Dees were best friends. Of course, they all were at Troy at the same time. They played on the 68 team and played on the 67 team, and they played on three of the best football teams Troy ever put out there. And again, Alvin was a very strong supporter of Troy University, and through his, like I said, as he was on the Board of Trustees for a long time, and he was a very well-to-do man, and he was just a super friend, and I really do hate to see him go.
Well, Mike, I'll try to print you a copy. And this weekend's, I've got to put you on hold. We've got a caller. Good morning. Welcome to Today in LA.
Hi, morning. How are y'all?
All right, I got your dad on the phone. Let's see if I can bring both of you in. Don't tell me I lost him. Do I have both of you? Mike and Michael?
You got me. You got me.
Can y'all hear one another?
Yeah, you got me.
Can,
Yeah, we got it. We got it. Yeah.
Great. Good morning, Michael. And you're calling from Grayton Beach, Florida, and your dad sounds stronger on the phone. Thank you for calling. How's everything in the great state of Florida?
I mean, I think I'm in shock after what I watched yesterday. Tom Brady at 43 is still the GOAT, I guess, the greatest of all time. I mean, unbelievable performance against Green Bay yesterday. Green Bay couldn't find the end zone late in the game and kicked a crazy field goal with 2 minutes left. I still can't believe what I was watching yesterday.
It looked to me like Rodgers could have scored.
Yeah, I think if you got Aaron Rodgers, you could probably take a shot at, throwing for a touchdown there instead of kicking a chip shot field goal. But Steve McClendon from Ozark will go to another Super Bowl. He's already won one with the Pittsburgh Steelers, and of course he got picked up by Tampa Bay. I guess late in the season, with about 5 games left. He got the opportunity to leave the Jets and sign with Tampa, and it's been a great thing for him.
Right.
And then a great thing, you know why we call him Steve No Neck? I don't believe I've ever seen a bigger neck on a football player in my life.
Hey, Michael, the unique thing about this Super Bowl game is the first time that a team will play in their home stadium for the Super Bowl. First time in 55 years, because this will be Super Bowl.
Special, you're right.
And the fan capacity, according to the reports released by the National Football League, will be 22,000, 15,000 paid tickets, and the National Football League are going to give 7,500 tickets to healthcare workers who have their COVID shot. So that's a neat thing for them to do. And it's going to be Sunday, February the 7th at 4:30. And I went online a while ago. The tickets are going, the cheapest ticket on Vivid seats is $9,600 per ticket.
$9,600 to get in that stadium, is that right?
That's right, because only 15,000 are paid fans. Only 15,000 fans are getting in there.
Let me go to the bank today and see if I can borrow some money.
Maybe you can borrow some money from the lady that won the $1 billion what was it, Powerball or Mega Millions? She won $1 billion on.
Yeah.
The Powerball is.
The Powerball and the Mega Millions. One was $750 million. One was $1 billion.
Some lady from somewhere won it.
Yeah, $1 billion. Yeah, on one ticket.
Boy, isn't that amazing?
You know, another thing about Tampa Bay, they said this is the third time that Tampa has hosted a world championship during the COVID pandemic, or they've been involved with it. Of course, the Tampa Bay Lightning won the Stanley Cup in hockey, and the Tampa Bay Rays actually did not play at their stadium, but they did play for the World Series against the Dodgers during the COVID era. So that's 3 teams, the Buccaneers, the Tampa Bay Lightning, and the Tampa Bay Devil Rays have represented Tampa in the COVID era of championships. And overall, I was going to mention overall, New England has won 6 Super Bowls. They've lost 5. Pittsburgh has won 6 and has lost 2. Dallas is 5-3. San Francisco is 5-2. And Green Bay and the New York Giants both are tied at 4-1. So this is Tampa Bay. I think, is this their second or third Super Bowl?
Second, I think it's second.
Yeah. And,
I want to say.
Yeah, they won one. They won one under Grip.
Yeah. Who's coaching the?
We had a player from Troy that played that started for Tampa.
Yeah, he was Kerry Jenkins, offensive lineman.
Kerry Jenkins.
Yeah.
He was a Troy guy that played in the Super Bowl. And of course,
he was a transfer from LSU, and then he transferred from LSU to Troy. And he was big, huge guy out of Tuscaloosa. He's like 6'6", 300 pounds.
So we've had So Virgil C. has played in it and won one. And Jenkins, and who else from Troy has?
Jernigan, Lawrence Pons, OCU Minora. OC won 2.
DeMarcus Ware.
Pons won 2. DeMarcus Ware won 1 with the Broncos.
That's pretty neat. Yeah, we'll
several guys.
try to research that.
I mean, OC I know won 2 with the Giants. I want to say Pons was on both those teams too.
I think he won.
I know Jernigan won 1
With the Giants, yeah.
Yeah.
The
McClendon won 1 with the Pittsburgh Steelers. He was a reserve defensive tackle.
right.
Yeah, that's right.
Hey,
It was wonderful for a guy from Ozark, and I know they ought to give him a day. They ought to give him a day of celebration.
I see where Alabama's hired a running backs coach, Robert Gillespie. He's a native of Hattiesburg, Mississippi. He was a running back at the University of Florida for the Gators. He's coached at South Carolina, Oklahoma State, West Virginia, Tennessee. And for the last 3 years, he was the North Carolina running backs coach. And so that's a good hire for the University of Alabama. We've got a running back, or they have a running backs coach. And speaking of running backs, the junior out of Geneva County, Emmanuel Henderson, 5-star running back. On March the 13th, he's going to decide where to play college football. Right now, he's 6'1", 190 pounds, and his choices are Auburn, Alabama, Georgia, Clemson, Michigan, Notre Dame, Oklahoma, the University of Southern California. And his head coach is Jim Bob Stripling. And last year, he ran for 1,449 yards, 20 touchdowns on 147 carries. He caught 12 passes, and he missed 3 games last year because of some injuries. So that's going to be interesting to see, and that's about...
We had Doug Dunn on the show said he was the real deal. I mean, he said he's the guy that started Alabama. You know, if a guy gets that kind of confident, that's got to tell you something right there.
Isn't it amazing?
Well, speaking of...
in fact, going back to him, tell me the 2 greatest pro athletes that came out of Hartford, Alabama.
Hartford?
Early Wynn.
Early Wynn, the Hall of Famer, yes, and who else?
What's his name? Played at Auburn, Tom Bryan.
Tom Bryan, well, he was a good one, but he wasn't the one I was thinking about. But he was a real good player that came out of Hartford. And Bill Ross also came out of a basketball player that came out of Hartford. But I'm looking for a former University of Alabama All-American. And we'll get to that in a few minutes. What else is going on?
Well, did I mention to you that there was a great article in the Messenger this weekend about Don Sutton, and they quoted his brother Ron several times. It was a wonderful article about, Don Sutton, who was born in Clo, lived there for about 5 years, and then moved near Florida, near Pensacola. But it was a tremendous story in his work ethic that was instilled by their dad. And I want to say, like I mentioned last week, his mother was 14 years old when he was born. His daddy was like 17 or 18. So that's a tremendous story. And Mike, I know...
Ron is a dear friend of mine, and probably the greatest Troy baseball fan out there. Go to every Troy game, and is real close to the program. But I would love to hear that story because I know what kind of person Ron is, and of course he lost his wonderful brother.
Right. Hey, what about Mike is going to get your thoughts on Henry Louis Aaron. He passed away Friday. I heard the story as I was leaving the studio. But Hank Aaron was my favorite player growing up. He wore number 44. And the reason I fell in love with him because he was from the state of Alabama. He and Willie Mays and Willie McCovey, all from Alabama, hit over 500 home runs in the major leagues. And
that's a very good. That's a very good quote right there.
You know, Aaron.
Also had Billy Williams. He had about 480, I think.
I believe that's correct. And Aaron had 755, but you know, Willie Mays had 660. But Willie Mays missed 266 games while he served in the United States Army during the Korean conflict.
Wait a minute, I did not know that. Tell me that one more time.
Willie Mays missed 266 games in the prime of his career, at the beginning of his career, because he served in the United States. He was drafted in the Army and served during the Korean War. So that's.
I've always heard that. Now, let me tell you now. I've always heard that about Ted Williams. You know, he was in the Air Force for 4 years during the war, and was a pilot during the war. I always have heard of Ted Williams being like that. Having to serve. I never knew that Willie Mays had to serve like that.
All right, he did. Here's some more interesting facts. All right, Hank Aaron and his brother Tommy, who he hit 13 home runs, but they have the major league record for most home runs hit by brothers in Major League Baseball. Another interesting thing, when Aaron played semi-pro ball in Mobile, he was signed by the Indianapolis Clowns of the Negro Leagues. He got 2 telegrams, one from the Giants and one for the Braves, offered him a contract.
The Braves were in Milwaukee at the time.
Right. The Braves contract was for $50 more, so he took that contract. Otherwise, Hank Aaron and Willie Mays would have been teammates, and there was a $50 difference. And I'm reading this on Wikipedia, and that's some interesting stuff.
That was real interesting stuff. I tell you that.
Yeah, you know, they built that baseball stadium down in Mobile and called it Henry Aaron Stadium, and it's such a shame the Double-A baseball team down there doesn't even play anymore. They moved them to Biloxi. But Hank Aaron was always impressive and always gracious in interviews, and just seemed like a real positive, upbeat guy. I mean, he was
probably
always
one of the most humble heroes. He was probably one of the most humble heroes of all time. Hank Aaron was a wonderful person and a wonderful ball player, and was just a super individual.
I bet your dad can answer this question. All right, Mr. Mike, on April the 8th, 1974, he hit his home run in the 4th inning off what player? Who did they play?
I'll tell you.
They played the Dodgers.
I know it.
Al Downing wore number 44.
Alfonso Downing.
He wore 44. Hank Aaron wore 44. And to begin Aaron's career, he wore the number 5 for the Brewers. Well, as a rookie, he slid into third base in August and broke his ankle. And then after that, he started wearing the number 44. But when he broke...
That's nothing.
All right, to begin the season that year, when he broke the record, the Braves organization did not want him to play in the Cincinnati series that's being held in Cincinnati. So they were going to hold him out and let him...
So he play at home.
Yeah.
So he hit the home run at home.
Right, so Bowie Kuhn intervened. And he said, you got to play at least 2 games in Cincinnati. Well, the first pitch, Hank Aaron hit a home run off of Jack Billingham to hit and tie Babe Ruth with 714. He didn't hit any other home runs those 2 games, but he did hit his 714th home run off Jack Bellingham on the first pitch that he saw when they were playing in Cincinnati. And then I can remember in my living room when I watched every second of that game. When he hit that home run, I jumped as high as I can, was screaming and hollering, and my mother come in the room and said, "What are you doing?" I said, "Mama, he did it. He did it."
Yeah, you had a television to watch. You're right.
That was in 1974.
Yeah, it's been a tough year. Tough year losing great players. You now lost Joe Morgan, Tom Seaver, Bob Gibson, Al Kaline, Bill Nico, Dick Allen, Jimmy Wynn, Whitey Ford, Lou Brock, Tony Fernandez, and now the great Hank Aaron have all passed away this year.
And this is recently. You're exactly right,
yeah.
Mike. And a lot of these guys were Hall of Famers, and that is some deal. I tell you, I'm really surprised at that.
My dad, when he was a patient at the VA hospital in Tuskegee, he would bring me home a baseball digest. And, of course, the first person you'd look up was Hank Aaron. He was the first one in the book.
Yeah.
And so what I started doing is highlighting every player born in Alabama. And I remember the Agee brothers. Agee, one of the Tommy Agee, I believe, played for the Mets when they won the World Series. But I highlighted every one of those names that were born in the state of Alabama. And
that is really something, boy.
So,
hey, would you have loved to have been one of the guys that jumped the fence and went and grabbed Hank Aaron?
well,
I don't know if they put them in jail or not, but those guys have a memory. Those 2 guys that caught up with him.
that's right. They were college students. They said at first it startled them, but there was a pitcher, I believe, was he from the Dodgers, that caught the ball in the bullpen and ran it in and gave it to Hank Aaron. He said Hank was kind of tearing up, and I wanted to copy the exact saying that the Braves announcer, or the person announcing the TV, Milo Hamilton. It was talking about how great it was for the state of Georgia, the Braves, America. Here we have words to the effect, here we have a black man who's getting a standing ovation in the Deep South, words to that effect. But like Michael said, his dignity and demeanor was so, a lot of people put him up there with Jackie Robinson with some of the things that he had to face.
Class act. Hank Aaron was maybe an even more classier act than Jackie Robinson, even though.
I mean, when you run on the field like that, you got to have some liquid courage. Those guys must have been drinking a few pops before they decided to run out there.
Oh
Well,
yeah, those guys. You're right, man. Those guys were they were out of order, no question about it.
And I believe Hank Aaron's quote was words to the effect, "Thank God this is over," because he had received multiple death threats, hate letters, and it's just the pressure of breaking Babe Ruth's all-time home run record that stood for so many years. The pressure, that built up, and a lot.
A lot of people don't. Go ahead.
No, I'm just saying Willie Mays was held a record, not Babe Ruth's record, but it held he had 660 home runs. That was, I think, number 2 or number 3 back then.
Well, one thing about Willie Mays that I read this morning, that he learned his basket catch while he was playing. He'd play sometimes for the Army. When he was in the Army, and that's another player taught him the basket catch, and I believe that guy was from Puerto Rico or somewhere. But anyway,
I have just almost forgot about the basket catch, and you're right. He had a very unique way to catch a baseball.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a small break. We want to thank our sponsors, especially Premier Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram of Troy, Alabama. located on the bypass. I want to thank Troy Bank and Trust Company, Birds Drugs, Cinco Drugs, Ponstalker 2, just to name a few. And we'll be back in just a few moments.
Our history is woven with the stories of those we serve. At Max, we've been a good community partner for 65 years. Max is dedicated to providing dependable financial services and to supporting our communities. We volunteer our time and share our resources. As a credit union, we've returned millions of dollars back to our members, local nonprofits, and small businesses. Max is honored to be a part of your story. We look forward to serving you for years to come.
Hi, Sandy. I'm right here. Come on in.
Betty, I'm right here. Hello, Miss Mary. I'm right here. I'm right here.
Since 1969, we've been right here because at Troy Regional Medical Center, we take these words to heart.
I'm right here.
Thank you. Remarkable people, remarkable care.
Trojan Auto Parts of Troy, home of Napa Know-How. Stop by and see owners Mike and Melissa Kilcrease and their Napa Know-How team with over 100 years of combined experience. We're the only locally owned parts store in Pike County, and we're fully stocked and ready to serve you. We pride ourselves on being your go-to parts store, not only for the simple items, but we specialize in those hard-to-find items as well. Trojan Auto Parts, the right part at the right price at the right time. Napa, a name you've trusted here in Troy since 1945.
At the Piggly Wiggly, we proudly support our local farmers and bring you the best they have to offer, all at cost plus 10%. When you shop local, you reinvest in your community. Remember, buy local, shop local. Piggly Wiggly, local since forever.
Breaking game.
Yeah. We're back, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Today in LA. I'm Forrest Lee, and on the phone we have Mike calling in from Panama City, Florida. He's on the mend. He's doing well, getting stronger every day. And his son Michael is on the phone from Grayton Beach, Florida, joining us on the set via phone. Good morning again, guys.
Morning. Thinking about Big Buck Dees, my old buddy. We lost him this weekend, and I'm praying our thoughts go out to his family and wonderful family. And of course, Alvin Dees was a member of the '68 National Championship team and a very good football player. He was from Evergreen, Alabama, and I'm sure for those folks right there remember the great Alvin Dees. This is great information coming up about Hank Aaron, and Mike, tell us more things about him.
Well, I was just mentioning that he had 44 home runs 3 times. The most he hit in the season was 47. And, hits is something I was surprised. He had, 3,771 career hits. Of course, Pete Rose has the record. But he was close to 4,000 in hits as well.
You're right.
He played 23 years he played, and his career batting average is very impressive as well, 305.
Willie Mays was a great player back then. He compared himself with Willie Mays, and of course he was a great one with the San Francisco Giants, and then formerly, later on, earlier with the New York Giants. But they were big competitors, and they were both from Alabama, and they were considered 2 of the better players to ever play in the major league.
He credits his strength in his hands. I remember reading the book because he used to tote ice around, and he used to bat cross-handed. And they didn't change that up until he was in the semi-pro league around Mobile. But he used to bat cross-handed, and his strength comes from toting ice around a place that he worked. And I can remember one story. He had like 2 sandwiches when he got on the train going to the Indianapolis area to play baseball. But he's one of my all-time favorite players, and I used to play baseball by myself in my front yard, and I'd take a ball and see how far up in the – I was Hank Aaron, and I'd see how far I can hit it up in Granddaddy's corn patch. Then I'd count the rows. Well, I hit it 12 rows up. I'd come back down with that baseball.
Were you hitting rock?
No, I had one baseball, so I had to hit it and go get it. So The next time, well, I hit it 16 rows. About a week later, my granddaddy come up to me and said, "Little boy, quit climbing that bank. You're creating a gully where it's washing out." So he prevented me from. He told me to stop climbing up the terrace to go to the corn patch.
Well, Dad, you worked in Atlanta a lot, didn't you? Did you ever go see Aaron play when he played for the Braves in Atlanta?
Yeah, I saw him play quite a bit, but I didn't see him as much as I would have liked to have. But I would have loved to have seen him more than I did. But I watched him, and it was quite a treat. You know, the All-Star game was held in Atlanta back in the I want to say the 70s, the early 70s, and me and Joe Griffin and Bo Gaylord and Jimmy Lawrence went to that game. We really had a good time because they were my trivia buddies, and it was great to see the All-Star game and all those great players. And Aaron was one of them, and Willie Mays was another one, and it was just really a treat. You know, baseball back in those days, you know, they didn't have many games on TV. They'd have a game on Saturday with Dizzy Dean and Pee Wee Reese, and the choice this product of the Brewers Art was their sponsor. But it was just really amazing what a child could do with collecting baseball cards and playing baseball marbles and doing anything they could do to come up with a game to play. We were always looking for a game to play, and that's the way I grew up.
Well, let me give you one other story. When Daddy would be able to come home on a weekend pass, I'd always love for Daddy to hit me fly balls and ground balls.
Okay.
And he would get in the corner of the house, and I'd be playing right field like Hank Aaron was playing. And I'd be in the dirt road, and I'd try to get Daddy to hit it to my left where the fence was so I could make a catch near the fence. Well, one day he hit one near the fence. I jumped over the barbed wire fence, land on the other side on an electric fence. Daddy run out there. I'm all cut up. He said, "What's wrong, son?" He said, "I'm mad, Daddy, because I missed the ball." I had it in my glove, and when I hit the ground, it fell out. But I was playing Hank Aaron, and
that sounded a little dangerous playing up against a barbed wire fence into an electric fence. My goodness.
Well, the electric fence is on the other side.
Michael was full of drinking Pepsi Colas and Coca Colas and watching TV and all that, while me and you, Forrest, were having to make up something to do.
Yep. Well,
I used to throw balls against my front porch steps, and it would bounce different ways, and whichever way it bounced, it was whether or not he got a hit or not. I did that for hours, throwing the tennis ball up against my front porch, my stairs on my front porch.
You were talking about basketball earlier, Michael. Before we get into Troy basketball, I was going to talk about Alabama basketball. They defeated Mississippi State 81-73. And that runs the record to, 8-0 in the Southeastern Conference?
Yeah, they're 13-3. I think they've won 8 in a row.
8 or 9?
I don't know if they're 7-0 in the conference or if they're 8-0. I'll have to look and see.
I think that's 9 in a row, but they play...
It's the best start since the 86-87 team, which was Mark Guthrie, Jim Farmer, Derek McKee, all those great players at Alabama under Wimp Sanderson.
Right. Well, they host Kentucky Tuesday night at 6 o'clock. So Kentucky rolls into Tuscaloosa, and Auburn had a big win against South Carolina. Their record is not very good, but Auburn is on the rise, and Auburn will host Missouri also on Tuesday night. That's at 8 p.m. But
Alabama's now 8-0 in the conference. They're doing it without Jordan Bruner, the big transfer from Yale, that 6'10" center. He's out. He had a meniscus situation. Then James Rojas, their other big 6'8" big guy, didn't play as well. So they need to get some of these big guys back before they play Kentucky. Kentucky will have great length. Of course, Alabama's already beat Kentucky this year by 20 at Alabama found a way to win. But Auburn with Sharif Cooper, the point guard, is phenomenal. And the guy's scoring 26, 27 points a game, and Auburn looks like a totally different team right now.
They do. You know, we're talking Alabama. I wanted to mention their coach, Nate Oates. He went to a high school in Wisconsin called Marantha Baptist, and then, or Marantha Academy. Then he went to Marantha Baptist. Then he's coached at Wisconsin Whitewater High School. And then he was at Buffalo. When he was at Buffalo, the head coach was Bobby Hurley. Bobby Hurley left and took the head coaching job at Arizona State. And he called the athletic director, who happened to be Danny White, who's the athletic director at Tennessee. He told Danny White, you need to hire this guy to replace me. If you don't, I'm hiring him to come to Arizona State with me. Well, Mr. White, Danny White, the athletic director at Buffalo at the time, he started interviewing players, and the players wanted him as their coach. So he was at Buffalo for a couple of years. Now he's the head coach at Alabama. And one of his key characteristics, or his positive things that he does as a coach, he has great relationships with his players. Well, JaQuincy McKinstry, the superstar who is enrolled at Alabama, who was Mr. Football this past year, well, this Saturday he shot pool with Coach Oates. Then he sat on the bench during the Alabama-Mississippi State game. So he's in school, and McKinstry plans on playing both football and basketball at Alabama next year.
That's unprecedented. I don't think Alabama's ever had a player to play both sports, basketball and football. I think they might have played.
Yeah, you know who he played with? He played with the great player at Troy, Cam Woods. You know, played at Pensacola Valley, averaged 36 a game. They were teammates and won a state championship. But Kool-Aid, they call him, had graduated school early at Pensacola Valley and is already enrolled in Tuscaloosa, so he's not playing basketball for Pensacola Valley this year. But Woods scored 28 and 23, I think, against Coastal Carolina. Of course, those were both losses. Troy, in the first game on Friday, led by 7 at the half. And then on the second game on Saturday, they led by 11 at the half. And they lost both games.
And
I bet they lose the second game.
70-65. They lost the first game 90-81.
Right. And we host Appalachian State this Friday and Saturday. Friday tip-off at 6. And we're in the cellar in the conference. The men are with a 1-5 record, and we're 6-9 overall. Texas State is 5-1 at the top of the conference, followed by Appalachian State 6-2, and Coastal is 5-2. And you know the women are rocking and rolling right now. They defeated.
What are they, 9-4?
They're 9-4, 5-1 overall. They defeated Coastal 104-59, 104-59 on Friday. And then on Saturday, they defeated them 84-53. And so the women will be traveling, I believe, to Appalachian State this weekend to play Appalachian State. So
when did the men come back to town?
This Friday.
This Friday.
They play Appalachian State at 6 o'clock on Friday.
Interesting with Troy. Yeah, they'll play the same thing. You know, it's interesting with Troy. They signed this kid out of Signal Lanier, Antoine Burnett, and he's still on the roster, but he hasn't played at all much this season. I'm trying to figure out what happened with him because he was a 4-star prospect, which Troy's never gotten a 4-star prospect in basketball. He's 6'5", 210, big, strong, physical guy. And he played in a few games to start the season, but hasn't played the rest of the year. And he's a guy they felt like was going to contribute and help Troy a lot, but I don't know what's going on with that situation. He hasn't played the last 4 or 5 games.
Trying to redshirt him? Do you think they're trying to redshirt him or what?
Well, there's no need to redshirt. Everybody gets the year back.
That's right. Yeah.
Well,
I don't know what's going on there. I don't know the program well enough to have somebody call in and let us know what's going on. But also the great kid that I thought had a great year as a freshman last year, that Jacavian Lethbridge, 6'7" guy out of Texas that played a lot last year. He had played it all this year too, and he's still on the roster. So I don't know what's going on with those two guys.
I don't know other than that. Well, we'll just have to try to look it up, find out what's going on.
Yeah, locally, I was going to mention some local high school happenings. You know, Goshen and Pike County has been on sabbatical because of some COVID issues within the school system. But Goshen is supposed to play at Opp Thursday and at New Brockton Friday. Then Goshen will play at home against Pike County next Monday, and at home next Tuesday against New Brockton. But the home games, there will be no fans at Goshen's home games, and you can watch it. It's streamed live on the National Federation of High School Sports Network. Pike Liberal Arts plays today, Tuesday, and Friday at home. And the way I read it, Charles Henderson is traveling to Pike County tomorrow to play. And that's what I found on Max Sports. And whether or not they'll actually play, I'm not sure, but that's what local high school basketball looks like that I could research.
Does Pike County have another good team like they did last year?
Well, Micah, they've only played according to what I read, they're 8-5 overall, maybe. They haven't played that many games. And of course, I don't know how good they are because I haven't seen them play. But, you know, they lost that big 6'9", 6'10" kid. And you just can't grow height every day.
Well, what about there's the Lady Girls? I mean, they're defending state champs. What is their record this year?
They are like, I think, 9 or 10-3. They're ranked number 3 in 5A. The boys are like ranked number 12 or 13. But the girls are playing real well. They got a girl named KK Hobdy, who's a guard that scores 15 to 20 points a game. I don't know how much height they've got. I have not seen them play at all, because I'm not sure if you'll call the high school at 566-3510, 566-3510, you can see how you get into games. You may have to go fan.com. I don't know how you get into games, but there's a limit to the number of people that can get in a gymnasium. And some schools are limiting it to like 150 people, 100 for your home fans. They send 50 tickets to the opposing team, and whatever the opposing team does not sell, they bring those tickets back, and then they sell those at the gate till they run out. But what the attendance stipulations are, I am not sure.
Yeah. Let us know a little bit about what's happening. We'll come back to sports in a minute, but tell us how we stand with COVID-19.
What are you talking about? Just in the country, worldwide?
Well, I mean, whatever, the state or county or whatever.
Well,
okay.
Mike's looking that up.
I can pull some information up. I don't know if they'll tell you I'll tell you just in Alabama. I won't tell you actual county breakdown. You know, they're not focusing on it much anymore. They're trying to get the vaccine to everybody.
Right. Well, I know Alabama, according to an article I read in Alabama.com this morning, Alabama ranks last in the vaccine rollout. There's delays. There's a lot of frustration. People have to call days to get an appointment. It's just a hot mess at the state level, and it's filtering down to the local level. The local level, when people come in or people call the local health departments, they're getting the wrath, but it's the state's transit of phones that's getting tied up, and people are getting called, getting rescheduled. They're understaffed. I know some health officials, at some health departments probably are having to be quarantined. They may have, who knows what all's going on, but it's been difficult.
Right now, Alabama is last in productivity. Is that right?
Well, according to some reports you read, they are. They're low on the number of vaccines that they're giving out, and the part of that is they didn't get the number of vaccines that they thought they were going to get to begin with. And it's time, just think it a health department that has to give, say 50 shots in a day. Well, you can't line them up. Here's your shot, go. Here's your shot, go. When you come in, I'm sure there's paperwork you've got to fill out. You got to get your temperature checked. You got to stay at 6 foot distance. Then when you get your shot, I think you have to wait 15 or 20 minutes to see if you're going to have a bad reaction. So there's a lot of other aspects going on. And the staff, I know personally here at the health department, because my wife works there, she's with the WIC program, but it is a logistical problem when you've got some of their staff have to be out because they may or may not be sick, or it's just difficult.
Oh boy!
And,
it says Alabama's had 441,000 cases since it started. It's not saying how many active cases. Alabama's had 6,660 deaths. Now in the United States of America, there's been 430,000 deaths from COVID-19. But it's still the same numbers we talked about before. For as far as asymptomatic to mild conditions, or you really don't have too many issues. It's 99.4% worldwide, and then 0.6% leads to death and critical cases. The numbers are still unbelievable if you look at it that way. But we know how hard, how devastating it's been for Troy, Alabama, and how devastating it's been for several friends and families that we know very well.
Well, as of January 20th, I read an article in the Troy Messenger. As of January the 20th, and today is the 25th, one of the state officials was quoted, in Pike County, 553 vaccines had been given as of January the 20th.
Yeah, that's really bad.
Now, whether or not that's a true number, I'm not sure. Have all the vaccines been entered into the database? So once you give the shot, someone else has to enter the data into a computer for it to be counted as a vaccine. And they may be backlogged. So, that's a big question. Plus, another headline this morning I read, the University of Michigan, they have suspended all sport activities until further notice because they have shut it down because several positive tests of the COVID-19 variant has arisen in the athletic department. Didn't say players or coaches or staff or whatever, but Michigan is tabling and suspending all activities. Basketball, track, soccer, whatever's out there, until further notice, until they get a hold on this new strand, see what it's going to do.
Oh, man. It just doesn't sound good at all. I hate it. Let's pray to the Lord that we can get this thing straightened out. No question about it.
The Senior Bowl coming up. Alabama's Landon Dickerson, Devontae Smith, and Ohio State's Trey Sermon have accepted invitations to the Senior Bowl, but will not.
Why is Smith playing in the Senior Bowl? He just wants to.
Well, no, that's what I was trying to read. But they're not going to. They will not practice or play in the game due to injury. They will spend the week with meetings with NFL teams as part of a pre-draft interview process. So we figured that was going to be the case the whole time. They have, Dickerson has a severe knee injury. Sermon had a really bad injury against Alabama in the national championship game, and then Devontae Smith has a broken finger.
And the center, has he been operated on yet?
Yes.
Yeah, he got operated on 3 weeks before the national championship game and still came into the game at the very end.
It snapped the last 2 snaps. Yeah.
He's the one that carried Saban out onto the field.
Did you say Leatherwood was playing or not playing?
Yeah, Leatherwood's going to compete. Looks like
Dante Brown.
The names to look at is going to be Brown, Najee Harris, Mac Jones, Alex Leatherwood, and then there's several other guys. The Tony kid out of Mobile, that was the great wide receiver at Florida. Everybody wants to see how he looks.
Yeah. Okay.
You want to take a quick break? You want to take a quick break?
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, we'll take another quick break. I want to thank Express Oil Change and Service Center for being a sponsor, Wells Fargo Advisors, and all our other sponsors, Troy Baker Trust, and all its locations here in Southeast Alabama. We'll be back in just a few minutes.
Our history is woven with the stories of those we serve. At Max, we've been a good community partner for 65 years. Max is dedicated to providing dependable financial services and to supporting our communities. We volunteer our time and share our resources. As a credit union, we've returned millions of dollars back to our members, local nonprofits, and small businesses. Max is honored to be a part of your story. We look forward to serving you for years to come.
Hi, Sandy. I'm right here. Come on in.
Eddie, I'm right here. Hello, Miss Mary. I'm right here. I'm right here.
Since 1969, we've been right here because at Troy Regional Medical Center, we take these words to heart.
I'm right here. Thank you.
Remarkable people, remarkable care.
Trojan Auto Parts of Troy, home of Napa know-how. Stop by and see owners Mike and Melissa Kilcrease and their Napa know-how team with over 100 years of combined experience. We're the only locally owned parts store in Pike County, and we're fully stocked and ready to serve you. We pride ourselves on being your go-to parts store, not only for the simple items, but we specialize in those hard-to-find items as well. Trojan Auto Parts, the right part at the right price at the right time. Napa, a name you've trusted here in Troy since 1945.
At the Piggly Wiggly, we proudly support our local farmers and bring you the best they have to offer, all at cost plus 10%. When you shop local, you reinvest in your community. Remember, buy local, shop local. Piggly Wiggly, local since forever.
Welcome back to Today in L.A. I'm Forrest Lee. On the phone, we have Mike Amos calling from Panama City and his son Michael, who's calling in from Grayton Beach. We enjoyed talking about basketball and baseball and Hank Aaron and other things. And today's the 25th day of January on a beautiful Monday morning. And we're back, guys.
Now, the Troy schools are not in session right now. Is that right?
That is correct. And from what I understand, there'll be decisions made, or they're going to see what the COVID is looking like throughout the county, and they'll make a decision as to what will be the next steps. But right now they're going back to school next Monday. But the athletic events are still in session with basketball. I think baseball's allowed to do a little bit of workouts. But school is supposed to be in session for Pike County schools and Troy City schools on the 1st of February. I think Zion Chapel are back full speed at this time. Pike Liberal Arts, they're still in school, and so things are right now scheduled to go back next Monday, the schools. And Troy State.
How did Pike Liberal do in the basketball? They had a couple of big basketball games this past weekend. How did they do?
Yeah, they've won their games, and Pike Liberal Arts has 3 games this week, all at home, Monday, Tuesday, and then Friday. Then they're off for 10 days by their state rules, and then the tournament will begin after that, and it'll be the Elite 8 that will be taking place. And would like to get maybe one of the coaches at Charles Henderson to come on, Coach Branson or Coach Jones, because the Alabama High School Athletic Association is going to a different format, a little bit tweaking the format as it relates to the playoffs in basketball. And the best that I could tell you, if you have 4 teams to make it to the regions, the number 1 team will host the number 4 team. The number 2 team will host the number 3 team at their locations, rather than bringing all 4 teams to the same gymnasium. And but the state playoffs are going to be spread out more days at 2 different locations in the Birmingham area. and that's because the Jefferson Civic Center in Birmingham is under renovations, and so they're going to split everything up, and rather than have everything in one location, they're going to split it up between 2 sites, maybe even 3.
Yeah.
But
they're gonna have a state tournament regardless, don't they?
as the plans are right now. And I believe we mentioned it briefly the other day, but Darius Norcutt from Pike Liberal Arts received a scholarship to play football at Faulkner State. And Caleb Geis and Peyton Dix will be going to Independence Community College in Kansas to play football. But I've got
Well, I wonder why those kids went to Kansas to play junior college, Rob. There's so many junior colleges in Mississippi where you wouldn't have to be so far away from home and your family could go to play. That's a long way to go up play up in Kansas.
I don't know, but I've got Faulkner's schedule in front of me. They open up February 13th at Reinhardt in Waleska, Georgia. Then they play host Point University out of West Point, Georgia, the second game. Then they go to Union College in Kentucky for the third game. Fourth game, Kentucky Christian in Kentucky for the fourth game. And then on the fifth game, they'll host Reinhardt. The sixth game, they'll travel to Georgia to play West Point or Point University again. Then they will host St. Andrews, that's located in North Carolina. And then they'll host Bluford College out of Virginia. They've got an 8-game schedule.
Follow that very closely.
Yeah, and that's.
I wonder why they don't play Huntington. I mean, they're both Division III schools, non-scholarship schools. I mean, Huntington's in Montgomery, Faulkner's in Montgomery. Why would you not play each other? Coach Turk and Tommy Watson are best of friends. That's extremely strange to me.
Well, I looked it up. I couldn't find a schedule for Huntington for the spring. It had no schedule. It had 2019. I tried to click on 21, and it wouldn't let me do it.
You know, Alabama State starts in February as well. They're going to play a SWAC schedule. Of course, I'm going to be following the SWAC in Jackson State because Deion Sanders is the head coach.
You know, Deion's got a plea for the community out there he wants his boom box back. Somebody busted out his...
Yeah, car's already been broken into in Jackson, Mississippi, Dad. Have you heard that?
Yeah, they busted out the back windshield of his Ford F-350, I believe, and took his boom box, and he's got a plea on Instagram and Facebook for someone to return his boom box. It has sentimental value.
What about Charles Henderson? Football, you got to hire a football coach and an athletic director. I mean, surely they're going to have to hire somebody in the next couple of weeks, wouldn't you think?
You would think so.
You know, whenever
you got the off-season program, you got to get these guys lifting weights, got to get these guys running. You got to bring your the new coach in to kind of learn his system. What he believes in and stuff like that. I mean, I don't see how they could be wasting a whole much more time. It's like you got to hire somebody.
Well, you also got to start recruiting within your walls and you got to regroup. And I know there's players looking for leadership too. We lost a great assistant coach, Will Gardner, who was at the middle school for a couple of years, left and went to Northview. Then he came back to Charles Henderson. Now he's the new head coach at Daleville High School for the Warhawks. Will Gardner, young, energetic coach. And who we have on staff left, I'm not real sure. I guess Philip Jones. I'm not that familiar with the coaching staff at Charles Henderson. I know the middle school coach has left and has taken a job, I think, at Valiant Cross. That's Quay Moncrief. He's originally from Prattville, so the middle school is looking for a head football coach too. So whoever you get, you need to, you know what I mean? It's like it's up in the air as to the football program at both schools, the middle school and the high school. So That's going to be interesting to see who is hired. You know, we've heard of rumors. We talked about that Friday, but I've not
I tell
heard.
you what, this is one of the biggest hirings that I can ever remember a Charles Tennyson or Troy High team's ever had. This is a very important hiring of the next football coach at Charles Tennyson. I think it's going to be very vital in their program.
It is.
Yeah, I mean, maybe just for the school, the Troy City School in general. I mean, because you lost so many kids to transfer last year. I mean, you're starting to lose more and more kids. I mean, I was telling Forrest the other day, Charles Henderson is going to be 4A again pretty soon, and if they keep on losing more and more kids, one of these days they're going to be 3A.
You know, and of course, you know, that doesn't matter as much as it to me as it used to. You know, a state championship's a state championship. You know what I mean?
I know, but I mean, Charles Henderson could be a pretty strong 5A school. So I mean, I'm just saying it's just getting smaller and smaller. Troy City schools are.
Exactly. It's going to be a very important decision, and I think it's going to be a decision that will affect the entire school system.
Did I see where did Troy State hire the wide?
They hired Al Povak, the former Harbor head football coach, and then he was defensive back coach, linebacker coach at Troy under Neil Brown. Went with Neil Brown to coach linebackers at West Virginia, and then was coaching outside linebackers at Auburn last year. Didn't get retained by Hartson, and now is coming back to coach on Chip Lindsey's staff again at Troy.
It was an outstanding hire. He's a great recruiter. He's a great man. He's a role model. He is a super coach that Troy got.
Yeah, it's a great hire. Ray Brown went to go coach on Blake Anderson's staff at Utah State. So Troy lost him. But when you pick up Al Poe,
who did they lost, Mike? Who did they lose?
They lost Ray Brown. Coach Brown left to take the cornerback's job at Utah State under Blake Anderson. The former Arkansas State coach is now at Utah State. But yeah, bringing Poe back is a win-win. And he's a great recruiter, like Dad said, and he's a big-time coach to add to your staff. So that's good for Troy. They've also hired a new offensive line coach to replace Ryan Pugh. He's out of Kansas. I'm not sure on the name yet. I'll have to find that name again. But they've got an offensive line as well.
We'll try to get our football coach on our show before long.
Yeah. And, you got to replace Cornelius Williams too. Though Cornelius Williams left for Auburn, so Troy also needs a new wide receiver coach.
Okay, and Cornelius Williams been with our program, I reckon, 10 years, hasn't he?
I think on and off. You know, he was with Troy for 6 years, and then he went to UAB. He was at South Alabama. Of course, he played at Troy for 4 years too.
Yeah. Well, he's a good young coach, and more power to him. You know.
Oh, you can't pass up the money. Coaching the SEC, he'll probably make you $350,000, $400,000 a year.
Yeah.
I know it. I'm very proud of him. I really am.
Yeah, I think the total price of Auburn to Malzahn and all their coaches was close to $28 million, having to pay their assistants too. The total cost. You know, because they owed Steele a bunch of money and 2 or 3 other coaches who were under contract for a year or 2 more. And but Tennessee is still they've yet to name a head football coach, and so that's interesting to see. But I believe they've hired a quality athletic director in Danny White, and he seems like a young guy.
This is not Danny White that used to
no.
that used to play with the Cowboys.
No, so it's another one. No, this guy.
Danny White's dad's athletic director at Duke, and his brother Michael White's the head basketball coach at Florida men.
Yeah, he's got another brother. He's got another brother who's an athletic director too.
Tony Elliott, you know, Dabo never loses any of his assistant coaches much. And Tony Elliott, the great offensive coordinator for Clemson, a lot of people say he's the leading candidate for the Tennessee job right now. So it'll be interesting to see if he ends up getting that job. Of course, Hugh Freeze I think is who all the fans want, but you can't be going on NCAA probation and bringing in a coach that already put a program on NCAA probation. I just don't think that'll ever work.
I don't either.
And evidently the old athletic director is not going to have a say-so here. Is that right?
He's resigned. He's resigned.
Yeah.
And
so Tennessee.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if Dad knows the story, but they're saying all these big-time recruits. You know, Tennessee was the banner year. All the reports are coming out now that they were giving all these recruits McDonald's bags full of money. I mean, that sounds like something that would have happened 30 or 40 years ago in recruiting, not in 2021. I mean, apparently Georgia turned them in, Kentucky turned them in, a bunch of other schools turned them in. So I mean, if you're doing something that ridiculous, I mean that's just basically just like letting anybody in the world know what you're doing. You gotta, you gotta be a little bit more discreet, I would think.
Yeah, no question about it. Of course, we appreciate you listening to our show and watching our show on Troy Cable TV PC2, and we appreciate them very much.
Hey, a couple things too, Mike.
How does the Gulf of Mexico look this morning? I'm looking at Lava. You're looking at the actual ocean.
Beautiful. The sunset. I mean, it's just it's just beautiful. It really is.
Well, currently I'm signed up to take the polar bear plunge this Saturday.
Oh, I was wondering about that. How'd that go?
No, it's going to be this Saturday, January the 30th at 9 a.m. at the Troy Sportsplex. It's the 2021 Polar Bear Plunge, the second annual plunge sponsored by the Troy Pike County.
34 degrees for us when you're jumping in.
Ooh. It's going to be the...
Run as fast as you can to get away from all that.
Yeah, but Diana Lee is one of the, local advocates and members of that.
If she asked you to do something, do it.
Well, I did it last year.
She's a wonderful lady.
Yeah. When I got out of the water last year, it's probably 42 degrees. The water was last year, 41, 42. But when I got out, I didn't hurt anywhere. I mean, I wasn't aching. I was a little bit cold, but my joints felt pretty good.
What does everybody do after that? They just run and go get it in the heated pool? Everybody gets in the heated pool after that?
That's normally what they do. And but they're going to have warm towels when you get out of the pool. And she said that they may do it in ways that they've had a great response, especially from the college kids. But when
we'll bring on some people that got plenty of hot chocolate.
Yeah, they're going to have hot chocolate and hot coffee sponsored by Troy Village Coffee. But they said they have so many people, it may be the first group jumps in, gets out. Then the second group jumps in, gets out, because they got so many people. And but it's going to be interesting to see. And it was fun last year, and it's worth the call.
Forrest, is this Village Coffee, have they moved to downtown Troy?
I'm not sure if they have a location there or not.
They have the coffee location there. We need to look into it.
Okay.
Find out something for us tomorrow on the show.
Okay, I will. And but that's going to be a fun event.
Early gambling lines for the Super Bowl. Looks like Kansas City Chiefs a 3.5-point favorite against Tampa Bay right now.
Oh boy, that's gonna be tight. I tell you what, they on paper, Kansas City probably got the better team, but boy, I don't know. It's just just having Brady try to win another Super Bowl is gonna be something else.
43.
Look at that game, and if Green Bay doesn't give up the bomb touchdown before the half, Brady comes in on fourth down. Guy gets behind the defender, which is just a big no-no. You never let a guy get behind you, and he throws about a 50-yard touchdown pass before the half, and then the first series the Packers have it. In the second half, they throw it out for the running back. He fumbles. They almost run it back for a touchdown, and then they put 28-10. And after that, Green Bay, came all the way back and really had a chance to win the game. But,
their defense won the game for them,
Well,
Oh yeah.
was it 3 interceptions that Tom Brady threw in the fourth quarter? Didn't he throw 3?
Yeah, he threw 3 in a row.
3 in a row.
He looked like he was giving it away. He really did.
Well, one was tipped.
Every time he got pressure, he just threw it up in the air. Now the ball to Mike Evans, the great receiver from A&M, Evans, that should have been a touchdown. He got to catch that ball. He just dropped it.
Right.
And that ended up being an interception.
You're so right. You're so right that the play before the half, let them get behind them and scoring an easy touchdown was by far a killer. As far as winning that football game.
Well, Kansas City.
Rogers is now 1-5 in championship games, divisional championship games.
Going in, I thought Rodgers would win that thing. I really did. And I like Rodgers a lot. I really do. And in fact, he's probably my favorite active quarterback.
I always thought you were a huge Brady guy.
Well, not really. I mean, I like him, but not more than I like.
Well, I mean, you like Peyton Manning more than you like Brady.
Yeah, I like Peyton Manning more than I like Brady. Yeah.
I just think the speed that Kansas City has at running back and especially at the receiver core with Tyreek Hill, and their tight end is probably the best tight end in the universe at this time. He had over 100 yards.
I think he caught 13 passes. That's unprecedented.
Travis Kelce.
Mm-hmm. Well, Kansas City has probably lost one of their offensive linemen to an Achilles injury. I saw that was late in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, he lost it to Mario Addison. Addison was rushing the passer and knocked him back into the quarterback, and that's how he did it. Addison was playing for the Bills. Of course, Steve McClendon, we mentioned from Ozark, plays for Tampa Bay. Of course, Troy went for so many years having so many guys in the pros, and those are the only 2 guys Troy's got left.
Right.
Hard to believe. Neil Brown never had any guys go to the pros, and Coach Lindsey's had no guys drafted as well.
Yeah. Addison was a high school quarterback out of Birmingham, and they made him a
he played at Tarrant.
Yeah, played out here at Tarrant where the old Rear boys played years and years ago. And but it remains to be seen.
We
need to wrap it up. Is Hall City coming on?
Yeah, we got about 2 minutes left. I'll let y'all say something, and then I'll close shop.
All right.
Will Mike Amos be live in studio tomorrow? You gonna be back on the air tomorrow?
We're gonna hopefully be back in the studio tomorrow.
Okay.
Looking forward to it, along with Forrest and Wright if he needs to be, and whatever. And look forward to seeing all of you tomorrow.
They're going to put you through hair and makeup for probably an extra hour to make you look a little decent.
I'm gonna wear a hat, my friend. I'm not ready to wear not wear a hat.
Okay.
I know I'm pretty, but I'm not that pretty.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we would certainly like to thank all our sponsors, and we want to thank you for joining us today. Reminder, our show will be replayed at 1:30 in the afternoon each day, Monday through Friday. We'd like to thank Steve Camp and his technicians here in the studio, and thank you, Mike, for calling, and glad you're doing better. And Michael, have a great day in Florida. And this is Forrest Lee signing off from Today in LA. We'll be back in the morning.
Our history is woven with the stories of those we serve. At Max, we've been a good community partner for 65 years. Max is dedicated to providing dependable financial services and to supporting our communities. We volunteer our time and share our resources. As a credit union, we've returned millions of dollars